We have this tweet from the House Judiciary GOP breaking Epstein files released. And there's a link here. Should I click the link? I'll click the link. And it redirects to tiny URL, which redirects to YouTube. I love how they blocked the Rickroll. They're like, don't do it. Don't click it. Okay, we get it. This lit people up. 4.5 million views. George Alexopoulos, a.k.a. G'85, says, women were raped. The monsters who organized and participated still walk among us, and you're joking about it.
4.5 million views and 6.1 thousand likes.
Like, this is not a good look.
No, not at all. Absolutely
So
not.
even if this was some kind of like grand scheme that Pam Bondi formulated to turn media attention to state corruption, it's not working. It just makes you look like an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, there are people in my mentions on Twitter that are just like, "Yo, let Tim know that everybody's blah blah blah." That are like genuinely angry about this situation.
But then there are other people who are coping, and they're like, "No, it's actually hilarious if you really like squint and tilt your head and think about it.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
No,
it's
not at all.
funny at all." And then there are other people when I pointed this out saying like, "Oh, well, someone's jealous that they weren't invited to the wedding."
Oh, that's
Oh,
so
God.
annoying.
Now, I will say,
right. I'm
a
just
lot of
jealous.
people are jealous they were not invited to this thing. Duh, absolutely.
There were people who were. I would say on the influencer side, though, I mean, I know a lot of these people. I'm friends with a lot of these people. I like them. I respect them. If I had gotten this document, I would have been immediately scanning everything as quickly as possible, and I would have had a link with all of the documents in it ASAP. Like, I would not be posting repeated pictures. I would not be posting the press statement from the White House about how this is the most transparent administration in history. Give people the information. Like, I'm not trying to wait for libs of TikTok to go through and give me the highlights. No offense.
I mean, who cares about that? Get invited to the White House. I'm sure it was a lame party anyway. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so
Look,
stupid.
that line though, the line that they kept repeating about this is the most transparent administration in history, it was copy and pasted. It sounded like, this is why I don't think it was necessarily something they were blindsided by. It sounds like something was sent to them in an email for social media deliverables.
They were blindsided. I look.
And why are they copy and pasting the same statement over and over all over the timeline?
So first, I will say this: it's not that I'm jealous that they didn't invite me; it's that I'm hurt. It's like
disappointed.
my friends
Not angry,
flew
I'm just
in
disappointed.
to DC and didn't tell me they were coming, and I'm calling people. I'm like, "Bro, are you in DC? Like, come on, man!
You're on
Like,
the cool
at least come
kids
get a
club."
burger with me. I don't care about the White House. How could you guys? No, but I talked to a handful of people, and this is why that actually is genuine. I believe they were blindsided by this. A handful of these people are good friends of ours, friends of the show. And I asked them, and I was like, hey, like, what went down today? And they were like, we had no idea this was happening. And like, some of my friends were like, bro, if they told us we were going to do something, I would have hit you up immediately and said, bro, come quick. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, it's whatever. Like, the only thing that I was saying is, come on the show, man. But everybody's flying out. Everybody's like, I can't because we're leaving. We came in here for a meet and greet. I do believe that most of the people had no idea this was going to happen. Now, the question is, why are they all tweeting the most transparent administration? Why are they all taking selfies? There's a reason why I think the people who got invited. I don't mean to be disrespectful to them, but they're not journalists. Now, some of them are, but they're largely personalities and influencers. They lean more towards the influencer space. But I don't want to say that of all of them because I don't want to impugn anyone's honor. I think Mike Cernovich certainly does. He deserves half the credit for the breaking of the Epstein story in the first place because he worked, I think it was with the Mike.
Yeah.
He worked on this, filing documents to get it released. So did, I believe it was the Miami Herald. I could be wrong. So some of these people there, you'll see they're not posting these selfies. But I think the strategy from the White House was, we don't want Amber Duke to show up, start scanning the documents right away. We want people who are going to be happy to be here, who are going to say, look, the message is we are being transparent. We are the most transparent. Here's the binder. Don't share anything that's in it just yet. And what are a bunch of these people going to do? Selfie, bang, look at me. I got a binder. People were straight up tweeting, I got a binder. And it's like, yeah, okay, dude,
that is like-
I don't care. What's in it?
Taking the selfie in and of itself is so ghoulish. You know, like there's no sensitivity. It's not sensitivity. There's no gesture at understanding the gravity of the situation.
I feel that I have to share this now to get ahead of it because this is a brewing scandal. I was forced to take a selfie with the Epstein binder
You were?
at
course.
Newsmax.
Oh,
I was mic'd up. I didn't know what to do, and I'm in a selfie with the Epstein binder, and I'm so sorry.
Like when someone say like, "Hey, get a picture of the binder." Yeah, because the issue is
Tough look.
Well, this is PR strategy. So look, maybe Mary, you're correct that Pam Bondi didn't plan this 4D chess in weeks in advance, but certainly whatever happened today was pre-planned in that they made binders and made this letter to Cash. She could have literally called Cash and say, "Yo, WTF? Like they're not giving me the documents. Get me those documents." Click. End of story. She drafted this beautiful letter and then gave it to everybody. That was a PR stunt for whatever reason, for whenever it was planned. It literally happened. Someone super chatted very simply, why was their messaging the same? They all just got out of a messaging meeting with Vance. They were going to meet with Vance about messaging. And Vance was probably like, we're the most transparent administration ever here, and they handing the binders out. And then everybody tweeted it. Literally not every single person tweeted, but a lot of them did. Not because they were told to do it, but because they were told it.
What, they just have peanuts for brains?
Well, you talk to them about that.
Just repeating the words that they heard.
Mary,
It sounds like it was in an email, in a PR packet that was given to the influencers
might have gotten
ahead of time or afterwards.
Or they might have gotten a fact sheet after.
Yes. The email,
That's pretty
not in
common.
advance.
They'll do a briefing and then they'll send a fact sheet once you leave to help inform your stories. That's what they do.
The people that I spoke to who were there, a handful of them, and they all told me the same thing, and they're not lying to me. There's these are people that I deeply trust, that we've had on the show, that have confided in me crazy things in the past, that have said, either something will be on background or off the record, and I maintain that privacy for a lot of these individuals. And I have heard the same story, even independent of what I was told. Amber had the same story from Chad. Correct. Being like, we didn't even know this was happening.
Well, in that case, I'm going to believe it was bullet points that were given to them after the fact.
That makes sense. A fact sheet or talking points.
Yeah. And that's pretty standard.
Right. And not everybody tweeted the same thing, but a lot of them did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is an unforced error, and there are people that were already deeply skeptical of Pam Bondi. Now, they are a narrow group of people that are gun owners and 2A advocates and stuff. They were, very skeptical of Pam Bondi, and I think that this did nothing to help that skepticism. And not that it's not the end of the world, but it does make the administration look kind of, makes them look bad.
And now they really have to deliver now, because this was bungled, and people are more focused on the influencer part of it than they are on what was in the files, because the files had nothing in them. So if they don't release phase 2 or phase 3 and those are not bombshells, they're in trouble.
Yep. There are two potential outcomes, two principal outcomes from this that I think are most likely. One is tomorrow morning, someone, Cash or otherwise, they confirm the documents in full have been transferred to the AG's office, and they're working on redactions or whatever, wherever that leads. The other is SDNY gets raided by the DC office or some law enforcement, because the message that Pam Bondi has sent out is FBI's field office has gone rogue and has defied the orders of the Attorney General. If tomorrow morning they do not confirm receipt of these documents, they may as well say, we have no power, and the FBI office is its own agency, independent of our government.
Look, if Internal Affairs raids the FBI Southern District offices and stuff tomorrow, if they're gearing up for a full-on, FBI raiding the FBI raid,
how could they not?
I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
Unless they say, we got the documents. And then if they do, it's going to be people outside screaming, rabble, 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 demanding the documents be published. So how do they navigate whatever this is? Whether it's an what did you call it? Unforced error?
Yeah, unforced error.
Either it's on purpose. The principal outcomes are going to be, it is substantially worse now that this story is so massive. It's a Thursday night. We shouldn't be getting this viewership, 4.5 million views on a stupid joke.
Yeah.
The attention on this is massive because people want the Epstein information. If SDNY does not deliver, or for that matter, if they do, and Pam Bondi says they didn't, people are going to be screaming outside of SDNY, demanding law enforcement move in. So whatever happened today, it has created a tinderbox for tomorrow. Something has to happen.
Yeah, and this early in the administration, you don't want to have a significant, serious shake in faith, of the people actually doing things. I mean, I see you smirking, Mary. You're a skeptic of everything all the time, anyways, and you're like, let it burn.
It's also it's strange to me that this became happening in the first place because most people who voted for Trump don't care about the Epstein files. They just care about getting inflation under control and closing the border.
Yeah, I agree.
So why are we
Completely agree.
even, if you weren't planning to deliver on the promise, well, first of all, don't promise it in the first place, but also just shut your mouth.
Because
Unless it's real.
Unless it's real.
Yeah, unless Pam Bondi was like, hey, let's release the Epstein files, and SDNY lied to her, and then she found out they lied to her.
And
I'm
also
part of the Nothing Ever Happens gang.
Yeah,
Vindicated again.
So
I don't
look,
think that was ever planned.
You're right. It is kind of like it's a very, and I've said this before, it's a very narrow group of people that care about this. But the thing is, they care a lot. So there may not be, it's not a very broad group of people that are going to be like, yeah, we need to know. This is kind of red meat for a particular constituency, but those people are very invested and they'll be very vocal on the interwebs. And Donald Trump looks at the interwebs and he wants to please the people. Look what he did for TikTok. Like TikTok was in my opinion, it was a bad idea to say, we're just going to go ahead and make a concessions for TikTok. But he did it because TikTok would be vocally against him. He wants people to like him. He wants to look on the internet.
Like me. He wants people to like him.
He does. He wants to look on the internet and see people saying nice things about him. So that's a big part of why he's doing this.
I will just say, outside of all of this, it is a fact. Okay, it's not literally a fact, but I think any reasonable person can conclude Donald Trump's administration hates SDNY with a passion.
True.
They went after him. They went after Eric Adams. Trump tries, they order him to drop the charges. They resign in protest. They file lawsuits to stop the dismissal of the charges. The craziest thing I ever heard is that the federal government was prosecuting Eric Adams. The DOJ cuts a deal with the mayor, which is par for the course in law enforcement every single day. A prosecutor will say, if you snitch, if you do this, if you help us with that, we'll drop the charges every day. And when the DOJ did it with Eric Adams, SDNY, they quit in protest. Lawsuits are filed, and a judge ruled they couldn't drop the charges they were prosecuting.
They're also trying to dismiss it without prejudice so they could bring the charges back at any time. So, yeah.
Like you're saying the Trump administration wanted that?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So if Eric Adams didn't play ball, they could bring the charges back. Or if he did play ball and they decided that the evidence was so serious that they needed to move ahead anyway, they could wait until the administration's coming to an end and they could bring them back.
It's not even a free pass.
No, it's not a free pass. But I will say, I've done briefings with DOJ officials on this issue, and they do believe that it was a politically motivated prosecution against Eric Adams, and they feel like the evidence is pretty thin.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.